the fight against climate change.
Net zero emissions.
Reduce carbon emissions
au prix du carbone.
China, Japan and South Korea have all recently followed the European Union in pledging to cut emissions. Carbon pricing is likely to play a major role in that effort. But what exactly is it? The principle is simple. Forcing companies to pay for their emissions creates an incentive to pollute less and invest in low-carbon technology. Chief Sustainability Strategist at BNP Paribas Asset Management, Mark Lewis.
If we continue to put more and more carbon pollution into the atmosphere, we are going to reach a point where irreversible and catastrophic climate change happens. And therefore, we have to price the remaining stock of the atmosphere that is left appropriately. Carbon pricing as just an economic allocation question like any other. And the benefit of carbon pricing from that point of view also is that tends to take some of the political heat out of this as well. Once you do that, it simply becomes another traded market like the oil market or the copper market.
This can be done through a carbon tax, a levy companies must pay when they pollute, or an emissions trading system, or ETS. An ETS sets a maximum cap on the amount of emissions that a sector or group of sectors can produce.
There is an important philosophical distinction between the two, because if you have a carbon pricing mechanism, then you are solving for quantity. In other words, you say, this is the reduction in CO2 emissions that we want to see over the next few years, and we'll let the market figure out what the price of that reduction should be. But we're solving for quantity. If you set a carbon tax, on the other hand, what you're saying is, we are solving for price. This is the price of reducing CO2 pollution, and that price will determine how much reduction we actually get. So it's approaching the same problem from two different ends of the spectrum, if you will. One solves for quantity, one solves for price.
So, what's the price tag of reducing carbon? The EU's timeline might offer a clue, as it seeks to be climate neutral with net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050.
Now, that kind of long-term objective should give a lot of clarity to the market about where prices need to go, because think of it this way. Remember, this is going to be a legally binding target. What that effectively means is between now and 2050, at some point, the carbon price will have to go to the level that allows net zero to happen.
Despite regional efforts, a worldwide price on carbon remains a far-off prospect. But the pledges from Asia and now the United States, where President-elect Joe Biden announced a $2 trillion plan to cut US emissions, both point to a cleaner future.